Welcome to Americana Archives. Travel back in time with us as we go throughout America's historic newspapers to find the lost and forgotten history of America. Today's story comes from the great state of Kentucky, being reported in the Hopkinsville Kentuckian of August 19th, 1892. Today's headline is Gave Up the Pistol. The subheadline is the reason he discarded his defensive weapon. It says, I used to carry a revolver, said the man who gets home late at night. One evening a man tried to hold me up, and when I drew my pistol, asked him what I could do for him, and he turned and ran like a deer. I congratulated myself on being so wise as to carry a weapon for self-defense. But I found that my experience was the very worst thing which could have happened to me. Whenever a man appeared suddenly in a dark street late at night, I fancied he was a fool and could hardly restrain myself from reaching for my revolver. Then two things came into my life which made me determine that I would rather run the danger of being robbed than of killing a man. I was telling a friend one evening how when I was startled in this way, my impulse was to shoot. He had a story for me then. It was about a marshal out in Utah when United States officers were considered the mortal enemy of the Mormon Church. This man had been forced to do a great deal of dangerous and disagreeable work, and he felt that he carried his life in his hands. He was walking down an unfrequented street one night, as usual on his guard. He had just passed a tree when his quick ear caught a sound behind him. Wheeling like a flash, he saw a man step out from behind a tree. Something was in the man's hand. The marshal could not see what. With one movement of his arm, he drew his revolver and fired, killing the man in the shadows instantly. The man proved to be a harmless old cripple. Now the possibility of my committing a terrible mistake like this worried me into a condition of extreme nervousness. And yet because I was so nervous, I could not bring myself to give up my revolver. One night, when I was going home, I live in the outskirts of Brooklyn. I had just reached the corner of my grounds when a man came bounding over the fence and landed directly in front of me. I drew my revolver, and I'm sure that I should have shot him if I had not heard my brother's voice cry out sharply, "For God's sake, Will, what are you doing?" One of my babies was ill, and he had been running across our grounds for a doctor. I have never carried a pistol since that night, and I have never since been afraid of highwaymen. This article was originally published in the New York Tribune. Thank you for joining us today. Remember before you leave to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and remember to like and comment below. And we will see you next time on Americana Archives.